snowing, right? Will we still have to do Zoom classes?
Yes,
Yeah, I assume so. I have no idea. Okay,
Probably not.
I don't know why.
I mean, you might have to start it tomorrow.
Yeah, but that's the thing about it.
Sometimes you don't have that if like the power goes out.
Yeah, I think it depends. It's a case by case basis. Okay. Looking at this first question, this is a graph of f prime. So what is the value of f prime at a?
0.
0. Wonderful. Goodness.
You got this, Ms. Thompson.
Okay, if f prime is 0, it says hence show that a corresponds to a maximum. Now what I know is because this equals 0, it is a maximum or a minimum. How do I classify that it is a maximum? Based off of this graph. Can you show me with your hand what does a maximum look like? So since a maximum looks like this, now f prime is telling me about what of the original graph? It's telling me about the slope. What's the slope on the left side of the maximum? What's the slope on the right side?
Negative.
Do you see how at A we go from positive values to negative values?
Yes.
That's all you have to write.
Wait, what do we learn?
So it says hence show that A corresponds to a maximum on the graph. Since the value of f prime, when the value of f prime is positive on the left side of A, and when it's negative on the right side of A must be a maximum. Or at A, f prime crosses from positive to negative, therefore it is a maximum. Since the slope goes from positive to negative, it is a maximum. Any of those mini words. Okay, based off of that same logic, if I told you that when it crosses from positive to negative, it's a maximum, that means when it crosses from negative to positive, it is a minimum. So I want to know which of the points A, B, C, or D corresponds to a minimum on the graph. Which one? C. C is a minimum. Okay. Now, which of the points would correspond? Which of the points would correspond to a point of inflection?
It's gotta be D and D, right?
Yeah. How do you know it's both of them, or why do you think that, or why do you know that?
Because I mean, like, there are maximum and minimum.
Yeah, a maximum and a minimum on the graph is a point of inflection. And then if I had to justify that further, part of the reason why is this if I were justifying it, I would say a max or a minimum on f prime is a 0 on f double prime. F double prime zeros are points of inflection. Some variation of that.
Can we fix that again?
So a max or min on f prime is the same thing as a 0. Me and my sleeves, y'all. I'm never wearing this shirt again. On f double prime. A 0 on f double prime is a point of inflection. My sleeves keep on writing on the board if I'm not holding them in my hand because my sleeves are like.
So it's because B is your maximum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions about that one? We're good so far? Okay. The next one is kind of similar. The next one, the first one is asking for f prime of x. Part of the graph is shown. It has a maximum at A and a minimum at B and a point of inflection at C. So they want us to find f prime of x, which is something you know how to do based off of the function. So they gave us f of x. Can anybody tell me what f prime of x is? Anybody want to shoot your shot?
You just say it out.
Yeah. F double prime B.
6x plus 6.
Any questions about that part? Then it says find the x coordinate of the point of inflection at C. How do I find a point of inflection? I'm setting this f double prime equal to 0. So I would subtract 6 from both sides and then divide by 6. So I get x equals -1.
But then that gives us 1 point, so then how do we do the other one?
That's it.
That's it?
That's perfect.
Wait, so you set 6x plus 6 equal to 0.
Yep.
Oh, find the x coordinate. Okay.
But on that note, that actually is kind of the next part of the question. It tells us, given that f of -1 is equal to 14, they want us to find f of 0. So like when I plug in, when you look at that f of x function, we have x values, but we also have another variable k. I can use this information to solve for k. What do I do?
Well, you could use like the original equation, plugging in all like the x's for -1s, right?
Yep.
And then like just solve k from there.
Yep, you got it. So we have -1 cubed plus 3 times -1 squared.
So this is how we find f of 0?
This is the first step to find f of 0, yes, which is finding f of 0 plus k equals 14. And then algebra, right? We know how to do that part of it. So you should get 14 equals -1 plus 3 plus 9 plus k. 14 equals 11 plus k. K equals 3. It says to find when f equals 0. So now I know what k is. When I plug in 0 for all of my x values, all I'm left with is k.
Wait,
So
Ms. Thompson. So it's
this
11.
is my final answer.
It's 11 plus k equals 14.
Yep.
Wait, so how did you get this 3?
So right from here, just k equals, I solved that and got k equals 3. You're good there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then I knew that the final answer for f of 0, if I were to plug in 0 for the original equation, everything goes away and you're just left with f of 0 equals k.
Oh, so.
So that is my final answer, k.
Okay.
Okay, then it says hints. Find the coordinates of the local maximum A.
Wait, so Ms. Thompson, though, for like the one that we were just doing, should we like have it as a final answer that like f of 0 equals 3? Or
Yep.
can we just leave it at k equals 3?
F of 0 equals 3,
Okay.
or just 3. Yeah. Good. The next one says find the coordinates of the maximum. How do I find a maximum? First derivative equals 0. So I'm going to set the first derivative equal to 0 and solve. Once you find the x coordinate, this is what I think Victor was starting to ask about on the other one. So I'm going to set this equal to 0 and solve it. I see that there's a greatest common factor of 3. So I'm going to pull it out.
Do we just factor it?
Mhm. So I have x equals -3 and x equals 1. The way I know which one to choose is by looking at my graph. they're asking me about the maximum at point A. What would be the most likely x value there? Would it be -3 or 1? -3, because it's on the negative side. So I know that my x coordinate is -3. But it says find the coordinates. So I have to find the y value. In order to do that, I plug it back into my original equation.
So then we just plug it into 3x squared?
Now you plug it back into your original equation, which is the x cubed,
Okay.
to find the y value.
Oh, because it's of the graph. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, but Ms. Thompson, the first derivative finds you the slope.
Yep.
How can that help us find the maximum?
When the slope is equal to 0, that means it's at a maximum or a minimum.
Okay.
So wait, why are we using -3 and not 1?
The question is asking me about point A, which is here,
Oh, okay.
which the x coordinate is negative.
Yeah.
Oh, and we know k is 3, so.
So you can plug it in.
The original question, is it the 3x squared or is it the?
X cubed.
Okay.
X cubed plus 3x squared minus 9x plus k. Or plus 3. The one in the top of the board phone. It's not on my screen because I can't see it all. I got 30. Is that what y'all got?
Yes.
So it should be -3, 30 is your final answer. Part D should look familiar in comparison to your Delta math. It's writing down in order from least to greatest, the values of f double prime of b, f prime of b, and f of b. If you wanted to, you could plug in the values into the equations, but you should be able to do this by looking at it for at least part of it. I know that B has the x value of x equals 1. What can you tell me about f? Yeah, you don't even need it. So what can you tell me about f of B? Is it positive, negative, or 0?
Negative.
Okay, so f of B is negative. What can you tell me about f prime of B?
Slope is 0.
0. What can you tell me about f double prime of B?
The concavity is 0.
Negative.
Oh my goodness, the concavity.
It's positive. Why is it positive?
is concave.
Concave up.
Not sure.
So in order from least to greatest, we would write f of B, f prime of B, f double prime of B.
Would we have to do like the greater than or less than? Or can we just put like commas?
Comments, because it just says right in order. Everybody good? Okay, the next one, we're talking about a cylinder. The first thing it wants me to do is to express the height in terms of R. The other piece of information that they give me in this is the volume. Do y'all know what the volume of a cylinder is? It's on your formula sheet. If you don't know, I can tell you, but I'm curious if any of y'all know it. When you think about the volume of something, you normally do area times height, right? So what's the area of a circle?
Pi r squared.
Pi r squared times height. It's the volume of it.
That's what-
I know that this is 24 pi equals pi r squared h. And then they want h in terms of r, so that means get h by itself. So to get h by itself, I'm going to divide. So I get h is equal to 24 divided by r squared.
What's the divide? You just divide pi.
Yep. I just canceled the pi. Divided by pi and cancel it. That was part A. That was 2 points for your test. Super easy, right? No big deal. Piece of cake. College level math, big deal. Okay, so this is where it gets more complicated into derivatives. The material for the base and the top of the can costs 15 cents per centimeter squared. And the material for the curved side costs 10 cents per centimeter squared. The total cost of material in cents is C. So they want you to show that. That means they've already given you the answer. You just have to do the math, do the work leading up to it. So if I'm looking for the cost of this can, it says that the cost for the top and the bottom, so we're going to call that team B. For the top and the bottom is 15 cents per centimeter squared. When I see a unit squared, what am I looking for? Area, perfect. So I want the area of the top and the bottom. The top and the bottom, what shape are they? So if I'm looking for the area of a circle, the equation for that is,
Pi r squared.
okay? Since I have the top and the bottom, I have 2. So I have 2 times pi r squared times our 15 cents, right? Okay, if you were to cut a cylinder, if I have my can,
This Thompson,
yep,
isn't it per 15 per centimeter squared? So then if we find the area of the whole thing,
yeah, divided by,
divided.
no, or sorry, multiply.
Then like, I don't understand, because you find the whole area of those, like, and then you just divide by 15, multiply by 15.
Yeah. If I find the area of the top of a can, let's say it's 3 centimeters squared. If it costs 15 cents per centimeter squared, how much would it cost me to make the top?
45.
45. And then the bottom is the same size, so times 2 is 9.
Okay.
Okay. The other piece of it is the sides are made from like a different aluminum. I don't know, it costs less. If I have a cylinder, like this looks like the can, right? If I were to cut it down one side and unroll it, what shape does it make?
Square.
A rectangle or a square? A rectangle, right? And so the rectangle, when I cut it, this dimension is called what? Maybe? I don't know. In this context, what do we call it? The height of the can. When I take this can and I cut it and I unroll it, what is this dimension
The width.
in this context?
The radius. The circumference.
The circumference, yes, it's the circumference at the top of the circle. So for the side, for the can, we'll call it C, it's 10 cents per centimeter squared. And so for the area of the can, we have height times, what's the circumference? What's the equation for circumference?
2 pi r.
2 pi r. Now, we found an equation, and then so the cost would be times. When we found an equation for height in terms of r, so I can write this, the cost would be 24 over r squared times 2 pi r times 10 because of the cost. And then for the cost of the total can, I would add this to this. When you do the math and like simplify it, you should come up with 30 pi r squared plus 480 pi over r.
Wait, so then we should add both the area of the top and bottom with the cost of the,
Yeah, so the cost of the can, top and bottom plus the cost of the can should give you the cost of the entire can. Make sense? Sort of. I know that was like complicated, but like
What are those? Oh, it's 24 over.
r squared. Yeah, I just plugged it into the height. Yes, sorry.
so
Cool.
wait, Thompson.
What's up, Victor?
What's the answer? I got, wait, I don't think I got it right.
30 pi r squared.
30 pi r squared plus 480 pi r over r squared.
Okay, and then simplify the r over r squared. You can cancel one of the r's.
Okay.
And you know how you can know if you got the
Wait, but
answer
then-
right? It's
Oh,
the
you
answer.
cancel one of the r's? So
Yeah.
that's 30 r squared plus 480 pi over r.
Yeah, and then look at question B on your piece of paper. It says show that C is,
Okay.
and then it was the answer you just gave. So you must have done it right. Congratulations. Okay, then it says, given that there is a minimum value for C, find this minimum value in terms of pi. How do I find a minimum? First derivative equal to 0. Love it. So I get to take the answer that they gave me and take the derivative. And this is a good reminder because it does have something with a fraction. Does anybody want to try and tell me what that derivative is? It's a little tricky this time. Okay, so we have 60 pi r. Okay, I can rewrite that second term as 480 pi times r to the negative 1. Is everybody okay with that? Like a fraction is the same thing as to the negative power? Okay, so then the derivative of this would be minus 480 pi, and then it would be r to the negative 2, which is over r squared. So that would be the derivative. And then I set it equal to 0. And I solve. So I'm going to have 60 pi r cubed is equal to 480 pi. And then I get r cubed is equal to 8. And then r is equal to 2.
Wait,
From here, I added 480 pi divided by r squared to the other side.
no, oh wait, no.
Okay.
How did you, isn't the r squared supposed to be on the left side, not on the fraction?
No, it's in the fraction.
So wait, did you remove it from there, like from the original problem?
So the original problem is this. I just rewrote it. That's the original problem in that way. So when I take the derivative of this one, I get negative 480 pi r to the negative 2, which I can rewrite as negative 480 pi over r squared. And so that's why it's there. Yeah.
Oh,
Ran by.
oh,
We love randos. Cause that's not weird. Are all good? Okay. Next. What time does class end?
should end at 15.
Okay.
We have 20 minutes left to sponsor.
I know, I'm just seeing if I'm gonna have enough time to get through this.
Okay. So a farmer wants to build a rectangular enclosure for his chickens. The area of the enclosure must be 350. So I know that the area is equal to 350 meters squared.
But that's the minimum area.
No,
Yes. It must be 350.
like it's like set. Not like
It,
it must be that or more is what they'd say if it was minimum.
okay.
Or they would say the minimum area. But no, it is 350 meters squared.
Or they would say not more than 350, that would be the maximum. Okay.
Right, yeah. So this is gonna be equal to length times width. Just so we keep that in our heads. The fencing used for side AB costs 13 per meter. And the fencing for the other side costs 4 per meter. The farmer wants the cost to be a minimum, find the minimum cost. Okay. This is similar to the last one, but you'll notice this one didn't give you any of the prompts, right? It didn't give you the step-by-steps. So the last question was more marks. You couldn't do it with a calculator, but they gave you like the broken down, basically like how to do the problem. This time they didn't. But I will tell you that the process is very, very similar. So what was the first thing we had to do on the last problem?
Express H in terms of R.
So right now we have 2 variables. We have length and we have width. What we need to do is come up with a formula so that we only have 1 variable.
Okay.
Which variable do you want to solve for? Do you want to solve for length or width?
With
Okay, so if I solve for width, then I get width is equal to,
350 over L.
okay? I don't care which one you want to call it. Do you want to call AB length, or do you want to call it width?
With, please.
So let's call this width, and this is length. That's what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. So what I know is that the side for AB is this much, but all of these are 4 times W and 4 times length. So if I were coming up for an equation for cost,
Wait, wouldn't it be 4 times L? Oh, wait.
that is, this just was per meter. Yeah, yeah. This one down here?
Yes.
No, because the dimension is still width.
So why would it be 4?
Because it's the other 3 sides, cost $4 per meter.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so when I write this out, if I'm talking about the total cost for this fence, it's going to be 13 times W, right? Multiply, sure, yes, no, maybe, yes. Okay, 13W plus 4L plus 4W plus 4L. Okay? But now we've determined that W is the same thing as 350 divided by L. So I have 13 times 350 divided by L plus, I'm going to combine those two 4L's. Is that okay? So 4L plus 4L is 8L. Plus 4 times 350 divided by L. I'm gonna combine it again just because I don't have my calculator in front of me and I'm being lazy. So this is 17 times 350 divided by L.
You put 13 as a.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. 17 times 350 divided by L plus 8L. That's the function for cost. But what they say is that they want it to be a minimum cost. So what do I have to do to find a minimum?
And the derivative.
Take the derivative and set it equal to 0. So what's my derivative? It's a little messy, I know.
You have negative 350 L to the negative 2.
I did the 13.
Would you put 17?
So it's 17 times 350. Yeah, negative 17
Plus 8.
times 350 divided by L squared plus 8. And then solve. So then you get
It's equal to 0, correct?
negative 8L squared is equal to negative 17 times 350. Somebody else is gonna have to do algebra for me. I don't have my calculator on me. Seventeen times 350 divided by 8 is
743.75.
sure. And then the square root.
27.27.
They say to find the minimum cost. This is the value of the length. So to find the cost, I have to plug it back in to my cost equation.
Wait, Ms. Thompson.
Yeah.
I'm at L squared times I'm at negative 350 over L squared equals 25, negative 25.
Did you get a negative 25?
Because negative.
Negative 17 is being multiplied times 350 over L squared.
Oh, okay, so then I divided that, I would divide over negative 8. Yeah, right. To get rid of it, I would divide.
Negative 8 to the other side, multiply both sides by L squared, and then divide by negative 8 at the end. Yeah.
So, okay, I'm starting this one. I'm just looking at 17 times 350 over L squared equals negative 8. Divide that both by 17.
No, don't divide by 17. You're trying to get L squared by itself.
Multiply both sides by L squared.
Yep. Your cost equation. Because it says find the minimum cost. Some questions are a little bit trickier. They might ask you, they might say, find the dimensions that minimize the cost, in which case I would have to plug it back into the area equation to figure out what the width is. What's that?
This is the 27.27, the cost or the length?
The length. And then to find the cost, you plug it back into your cost equation for length. I know, it's complicated. It's a lot.
Wait, what's your cost equation? It's the,
Cost equals 17 times 350 over L plus 8L. I mean, y'all could multiply that out if you wanted to. I just wasn't. I was being lazy. Have to find my calculator. Somebody borrowed my calculator the other day. I was not happy. Are we good? Ish, as good as we can be with that, what that problem was. Okay. Last but not least, we're gonna take a look. This one. How many of you have ever heard of the binomial theorem?
we talked about it in your video, but
I think we're talking about
Like binomial expansion?
Yeah, binomial expansion. You got it?
Isn't it just like when it's like something plus something and not that squared, then you have to, or it has
An
an
exponent.
exponent, you
Yeah.
have to just expand it.
it's something, what was the answer for the minimum?
I didn't type it in.
It was 796, right? Yeah. What'd you get?
Yeah, 436.
I got 436.35.
We did 17, 350 over L. Was it 8L?
Victor, literally just plug the entire thing into your calculator. Yeah. You're doing 17 times 350 over 20.27. And that's in parentheses. And then you put the plus sign.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I can tell you on your test, I made this question easier than what it is here. But I forgot when I was making this that y'all probably have not experienced a lot of binomial expansion. Probably, yeah, okay.
You only did the one that you did last.
All right then. That's what I thought I remembered. Was
I
it?
didn't even understand that, like what you did, the video.
Okay, that's okay. Basically, it will be a smaller exponent so that you can do it by hand. We can still do it by hand, so I'm gonna do it the way that y'all will probably do it on your test. You have one of two options. We can do this either by multiplying this whole thing out, this ugly thing, and then taking the derivative, or we can use chain rule. Which would you prefer? Chain rule, good choice. Sort of. For this particular problem, it's still gonna be ugly. Okay, so when I use chain rule, when I'm talking about the derivative, I have f prime of x is equal to, I'm gonna take the derivative of the outside first, which is where I leave the inside the same, and then take the derivative of just that to the 5th power, so that would become to the 4th and multiply by 5 in the front. Right? Chain rule. But then I also have to multiply by the derivative of the inside, which is 2x. So that would be the derivative. Okay. They tell me that the coefficient of the term x to the 5th is 960. So it would be like 960 x to the 5th. They want me to find the values of n. Now, in this particular problem, because the numbers are bigger, yours will be like cubed and squared. it'll be easier to do by hand.
Ms. Thompson,
Yes.
shouldn't it be 960x to the 5?
Yes, sorry.
Ms. Thompson, why would it be 2x plus 1?
Because A is just.
It's A is just a number. So when you take the derivative of a number, it goes away. I almost wrote 2 again. Just so we're clear. Okay, so in this particular case, I'm gonna help y'all out and tell you what the expansion is. Again, you'll get to see more of this in the future, but I am gonna write it out just so you can see it. An expansion, I'm gonna use Pascal's triangle for my coefficients. So Pascal's triangle looks like this. And then what I do is I have ones on the outside, and then I add each number in between. So what's 1 plus 1?
2,
Okay, so this one will be 1. What's 1 plus 2?
3,
What's 2 plus 1?
4,
And then another 1. This one will be 1. What's 1? Yep.
6, 4, 1.
Okay, that's Pascal's triangle, and I only need to go to 4 because this is to the 4th power. Okay? When I start this, this is called my A term, and this is called my B term. I know that's confusing because this is an A, but it's called my B term because it's the second thing. Okay, so when I come up with an expansion, I use these coefficients down here at the bottom, and I have 1, A to the 4th, and then I'm going to proceed with the coefficients plus 4, and then I'm going to do A to the 3rd, B to the 1st, plus 6, A squared, B squared, plus 4, A to the 1st, B cubed, plus 1, B to the 4th. So like all I did was I started with A to the 4th, and then I subtracted every time the numbers should add to 4. So 4 plus 0 is 4, 3 plus 1 is 4, 2 plus 2 is 4, 1 plus 3 is 4, and 4 plus 0 is 4. Does that sort of, no. You don't have to know it yet. We'll hit it next year / next semester, promise. But again, yours will be like factored like a square. You guys know how to FOIL. So you're not gonna have to do this much. But technically, if you wanted to look at it, FOIL is like you have 1 and then 2 and then 1. Did y'all ever realize that pattern? It's not worth it. I'll come back to it another time. But it's cool. As a math nerd, it's cool. Okay, so then all I do is I plug in my A values. So I would have like 1 times x squared to the 4th plus 4, so on and so forth. 4 times x squared
X cubed. Oh,
Cubed. and then A plus 6 times x squared squared times A squared plus 4 x squared A cubed plus A to the 4th. Now, all of this you could also do by multiplying this out, all of the terms. This is just like the shortcut of how to get there faster. Okay, I know all of that was really complicated, but all of this is times 5 times 2x. I'm looking for the thing that will become x to the 5th. Which I'm multiplying by x at the end, right? What do I multiply times x to get x to the 5th?
X to the 3.
No.
Wait.
If I have x times something equals x to the 5th, what's this something?
X to the 4.
X to the 4th. So I'm looking for which one of these things has x to the 4th,
Which is the first and the last one.
which is
Every single.
this one. Because x squared squared is x to the fourth.
Oh.
So that's the only one I care about. So really what I have is that this 960 x to the fifth is the same thing as
Wait, wait.
5 times 6 x to the fourth a squared times 2x. I took this times the 5 times the 2x. I know all this is like super gross, but
So then you did x, 6x to the fourth a squared equals x to the 5.
so now I'm gonna like simplify this. So I have 5 times 6 is
30.
times 2 is 60. X to the fourth. X to the fifth, sorry. Since there's an x to the fifth in both, I can divide by x to the fifth and cancel it out. So then I just solve 960 equals 60a squared. Divide by 60 on both sides, take the square root, you get your value, okay. I know that was horrible. Your question on your test would be like, x plus a cubed. So that when you get to this stage, all you have is like x plus a times x plus a times 1. Like it's gonna be a lot easier, but I thought I'd show you the complicated one in hopes that the easier one seems real easy. But tomorrow's review, I can do a couple more like this that are easier. I just can't make up those numbers in my head, unfortunately for y'all. Yes? Test Friday, test Tuesday. Cool.
Are those notes filled out?